Hey, home care owners and home care ops nation. This is Kevin with Home Care Ops. I'm here with Valerie Van Boeven today. She and I have known each other for quite some time. She's quite the expert in digital marketing and other resources for home care owners. Valerie, kind of give us a little bit of background here. How long have you been supporting home care owners, and what is it? Just tell me a little bit about what Approved Senior Network marketing does for home care owners.
Sure. Well, we have been in the business of supporting online marketing and sales, in-person sales more recently since 2008. So my kids were about 1 year old when when we embarked on this journey, and it has been it's been a lot of fun and sometimes stressful, but we love supporting home care agencies, and we've been doing that across the U.S. and in Canada for it's going on. I guess the kids are 17, and it'll be 16 years now. So it's been a long.
Yes, quite some time. So all over the country, mostly in the U.S.
Yeah, U.S. Mostly in the U.S. We do have some Canadian clients, but generally speaking, 99.999% of our clients are all U.S. based. And I would say, if you ask me what the ratio is of home care versus medical, non-medical versus medical, I would say probably 80% non-medical. And then, but you have some folks that do both. So, and then about 20% medical, but we've been all over the place for a very long time. And you can throw in there a few assisted living, care homes, independent living communities, anything senior related, but those make up probably the 1% of our clients. So home care is our market.
Awesome. Well, this is the conversation I've definitely been looking forward to. This is a space that I am especially interested in. I've done digital marketing for most of my life. That's what I do for home care ops. And so when I look for opportunities for home care owners to grow and succeed, this is an area I can just get lost in. I get so excited about it. Yeah. I see it as a space that has a lot of missed opportunities. So what I'd love to help us cover during this brief conversation here is areas that home care owners can really focus in on, and some things they may not be aware of because they look at the demographic and I think that they're stuck in the 80s and 90s as far as the tech savviness of what seniors might be able to do, and especially the adult children that are helping make these decisions. And I look at reports like what Home Care Pulse puts out there, and if you add up the 5 areas that they broke up for digital, it can make a huge impact in the growth for home care owners. In fact, it's second to word of mouth. So when you look at online presence for home care owners, how critical is a solid online presence for them to succeed?
Well, after doing this all these years, for me, when I talk to home care agency owners, a solid online presence is 100% critical, but we've always said this, it always takes a second step down from the in-person sales marketing, that word of mouth. That's going to be first. Mm-hmm. And then right underneath that is your online marketing presence. So it's 100% critical, but you also have a layer above that is that in-person sales and marketing. Everyone is on their phones, their tablets, and their laptops. Even your 80-year-olds these days, they don't have the adoption rate that most of us have, but people are, sitting in the hospital next to their loved one, looking at their phone, trying to decide what they're going to do next. And they've got that list from the social worker of home care agencies, and they're scrolling through websites, and they're trying to figure out, who am I going to call? And so it's 100% critical.
Well, last I looked at, about half of seniors over 65 are on smartphones now, and that number is climbing faster than it's ever climbed before. So it's insane that some people just feel like maybe that's not the space to go find seniors. There's a lot of it there. Now, when we say solid online presence, there's about 80,000 opinions of what that means. So, right. In your view, things that you've seen working really well for home care owners, what are maybe 3-4 key areas you feel like they should have established in order to compete successfully online and get those leads online?
Well, to me, a strong online presence starts with your website. And if I were giving a talk just on how to establish that, I would say your website should be the hub of everything you do. It should be the place where people come to learn more about you. It should be the the place where you get leads from. They should be able to fill out a form, make a phone call. So your website is of critical importance. And then after that comes content, blog posting, social media, e-newsletters, all of those things come right after that. And today I would have to add to that video. Video is a huge component of online marketing. Most folks are watching short videos, either long form, sort of like this, or short form, 90-second, 60-second videos. So it's important that you have a variety of content. But I would say that the website is where you need to start, but there are so many components, like you said, that kind of come into play there too.
Well, I think the great thing about the website is for the word of mouth marketing, it's that backup for assurance. Like if someone says something great about you, most people are going to give out the web address, right? And to that business, or they're going to go look you up on Google and then they go to the web address and start checking you out. So if the website backs up what they've heard about you from the word of mouth referral, that's just going to help anchor that conversion, that lead so much more.
Yeah, absolutely. And we shouldn't judge a book by its cover, right? But people do. They absolutely, if you have a website that doesn't load well on a phone, or it's not fast enough, or there are images missing, things look broken, they look like they haven't been attended to, it's confusing. And, folks may be on their phones or on their laptops or on their iPads or their tablet, but they may not be web savvy. So even though they're looking at your website, if they're having a hard time navigating it or finding what they're looking for, which should be A, your phone number, and B, your service area, then they're just going to go away. Because they found you, but your website's not helping them move through the information fast enough. So keep that in mind. An old website is detrimental if it's not working correctly.
Yeah, so kind of on that vein, what are some of the most commonly overlooked but really simple things home care owners can do to make that online presence better? I mean, you just talked about a website not quite flowing well. So looking at a website, looking at video, looking at maybe some social media engagement, those are three areas I can think of. What are some commonly overlooked things that they could do more of or do better?
Well, sure. I would first say that if you're, and I'll probably say this again, but if your website is more than 3 years old, it's time to really take a strong look at the people around you, your competitors, and look at their websites. And if it looks like it needs to be updated, or if you're missing images or things aren't loading correctly, and there's lots of ways that you can get sort of a website audit. But if things don't look good, especially on a mobile device, then it's time to upgrade your website. It's time to think about getting some new imagery. This is interesting. Anybody who's been in the business long enough knows that the same stock photos have been used a million times in the last 16 years, at least in my tenure. And I am tired of looking at those people. As much as they do a great job of representing the business, it's old news. And today we have technology that can generate the most beautiful imagery or you can pick stock photos that are not the same as everyone else, but there's like not enough stock photos, especially when it comes to diversity. So AI has allowed us to be able to create images that are absolutely stunning, and they depict what you might want to see on a home care website. Some people, most of our clients lately, if I give them the option of stock imagery versus AI imagery and they see a few AI images, they're like, AI all the way, 100%. And you can't tell if it's done well. Now, I will say there are some bad ones out there. We don't put those on, obviously, on a client's website.
With 6 fingers,
six fingers, or something hanging off their earlobe. That's weird. We don't do that, but we have generated some of the most amazing, touching images that really get the point across to an overwhelmed adult child about how helpful your home care agency is. And
awesome.
It's not the same thing they've seen on the last 50 sites they've looked at today. But I would say that's one thing. But I would also say that the easiest thing for folks to do that they don't do is if you're really good about your in-person sales and marketing and you are participating in community events, whether it's a nonprofit thing or a health fair or whatever it is, even a job fair, take pictures. Now, I understand that you don't want to maybe put people on your website that didn't give you their permission, but you can take pictures of yourself, your booth, you and your colleagues, you and the person you're marketing with. Those pictures being added to a blog post on your social media and on your website and on social media, marry up that in-person offline marketing with your online marketing. And I see people not doing that. So one of the things we tend to do is coach our clients and say, you know what, when you are at an event, the only people who are going to know you were there are the 25, 50, 100 people that were at that event. If you want that to expand to the masses out there, to your local area, take some pictures, give us a paragraph about where you were, what was happening. It was amazing. Who was there with you? What, why, who, how, when, where, those easy questions, and send that to us or do it yourself and blog post that information and make sure it hits social media. So marrying up your online and your offline marketing is really, really important to
It's huge. Yeah. You're just documenting this opportunities. That's what really connects you to the community. And I'd say if you're worried about people in the background, just use that portrait mode on your camera, on your phone.
Yeah.
Like that'll blur out everyone in the background. It shows you really well to highlight there or get, just more of an outside showing what the event was kind of picture and the video too. I love that those scenes are, really successful and good engagement on there. And, even if you had like a semi-pro that you knew that could take actual pictures of you and your team to put on your website to couple with AI imagery, it's going to be so much more personal for your website and the content there too. So those are things I would add as well, because they're just, it separates you as a brand rather than, and I've seen those pictures. I have those repeated, recycled pictures. In fact, if you go to most,
what we could do, Kevin? We could do a show called "Where Are They Now?" and go to Croatia or wherever all these pictures are taken and find these. They have to be passed away.
Yeah.
Some of them.
The biggest stock market photography market is like Ukraine or something, Eastern European for sure. Yeah. So they're all over there.
They cannot be. I mean, the people are so old in the pictures that they cannot still be with us, I would imagine. But
some of them, I'm sure.
And we don't have enough diverse pictures. So we don't have enough African American. We don't have enough Asian. There are plenty out there, but they've just been so overused that it's the same thing on everybody's website. So if you serve a very diverse population and you want diversity in your website, you don't want to be stuck with the same stock images that everyone has used. So AI can come in and create some stock imagery that shows that diversity, but is absolutely beautiful. So
and
that there are options.
Yeah, you're not going to find that on 20 other websites in your own town, huh?
No.
So I don't know if we kind of hit it, but maybe we did. Maybe there's another common mistake that you feel like is made that can be easily avoided. But what would you say a common mistake is that you see that's easily fixed by home care owners that they could do?
Yeah, we talked a lot about using stock photos.
Yeah, I know.
a lot about that.
But there's got to be another one, right? So.
Oh, sure. I would say that the most common mistake I see is doing nothing at all. So your Facebook hasn't had a post on it since 2020, or your LinkedIn hasn't been updated since 1999. I don't know, whatever it is. Not posting. And I understand that most people say, well, I'm busy with clients, I don't have time for this. Then find someone who can do it for you, whether it's a company or a person, or have up-to-date stuff on your social media platforms. Make sure, at least if you have to choose, Facebook and LinkedIn are your top choices, in my opinion, in home care. Now, some will say, well, Instagram and TikTok and all this, if you have to pick one or two to be really active on, Facebook and LinkedIn are the two you want to start with. Facebook is your community outreach, and LinkedIn is your professional to professional networking outreach. It's not where you're going to clients, but it's where
Facebook can be a 2-for.
It can.
You can do Facebook, Instagram at the same time.
That's right.
That could be a 2-for right there. Yep.
That's right. And I would also say underestimating the value of video. You don't have to be in every video. So you and I are used to doing this, right? Mm-hmm. But some people don't want to be on camera. But if you took those pictures from that event you were just at, the 5 pictures you took of it, and you went to something like Canva. I use Canva a lot. I think a lot of people have heard of it now.
It's an amazing tool. Yep.
Yes, there's a lot of other platforms. You don't have to use Canva. You can turn that into a reel, and that reel, it'll help you. It'll give you the templates. I mean, Canva will almost do the whole thing for you. Mm-hmm. But once you turn it into a reel, it's going to get more views on every platform you posted to than a still set of pictures. So try, mixing it up and adding a little video, a little music. You don't have to have spoken words in it if you don't want to. You can just add a little upbeat background music, or you can even do it silently and just have the picture scroll through. So I think underestimating the power of video and leaving nothing there at all, just having blank or unposted to social media for years or even months is a huge mistake.
Yeah. No, just a lot of overlooked opportunities. That would certainly help them go a long way. And they're already there. They're already paying a ton of money for that event. So just taking that event or that community outreach and giving it more life. Excuse me.
Create a press release. And you can go on, speaking of AI, you can go on ChatGPT or Claude or any of the ones out there and ask it to help you create a press release for this event. Give it a few details and boom, there's your press release. Now, would I edit that? Yes. It might sound a little silly the way AI writes it, but if you can edit it down once you have the basics for it created, then post it.
It's a great tool for breaking the whole writer's block or coming up with at least some basic things to say. So
if you don't know how it should be, a lot of people will say, well, I don't even know what a press release should look like anymore. I'm not a writer. Well, give AI some details about the event, who was there, some names, some company names, and just say, write a press release about this event, give it the date of the event, and it will write it. And it might sound, to me, AI writing sounds too fluffy and overstated and wordy. I'm wordy. But anyway, if you edit it down and make it sound more like a real human wrote it, that's really the way you should do it. Use it as a skeleton and then fill in the blanks. Put a quote in there. Do something like that. So
then when you do that, write it from your own brand voice. Like your company has a voice that should be different. So take the notes of what it is and just rephrase it the way that your company communicates. Like that's the biggest thing right there. Awesome. So I know there's a ton of options out there. I feel like there's a lot of competition in home care. Everyone talks about it. But having come from the industry, I know there's probably even more web developers, SEO, marketing coaches out there than there are home care agencies. So I've given a ton of advice on this. Hopefully you can give some advice here real quick. As they're looking at this myriad options out there of digital marketing companies, whether they're a home care niche or just someone from their own town that they think they want to work with, what would you say are some key things that they should look at to determine which company to work with?
I have a few things.St of all, I am a little biased because this is our industry, right? So I would always say to go with a company that has a long-standing history of specifically working with home care agencies, because this market is not like roofers, plumbers, lawyers, Pizza Hut. It's not the same thing. These are not the same decisions. These are not the same costs. We're talking about a market where the consumer is overwhelmed financially, overwhelmed emotionally, and they're making some of the biggest decisions of their life. And so your web developer needs to understand the emotion and the struggle that's behind the decisions that are going into hiring a home care agency. This is not simple. And usually it's done in a crisis moment, right? So we wish it wasn't, but a lot of times it is. And so keeping that in mind, going with Cousin Eddie over here is not always the best choice, because anybody can throw a website together. But if you want one that really helps with your brand and helps that emotional impact of what you can do for someone show through on a website, or in the wording on the website, then that's going to be really important. We write the content for all of our clients. We used to not do that, and I found that was just too much of a struggle for home care agency owners. So we write everything, and I'm not, and of course they get chances to edit all of it. But what I'm saying is, if you have a good start, if we can give you that benefit statement right off the top, then you know that you can edit it, but you know that you're heading in the right direction. Now, not every web developer in the world is going to be able to do that if they're also, trying to do the plumber lead generation over here and the roofer and the other stuff. So I always am going to say go with somebody who's been in this business for a long time. The other piece of that is longevity. You will meet in your lifetime. I meet them every day. I get solicited every day. People solicit us to improve our website every single day.
I get them all the time. Yep.
Yes. And they will say that, they found, all these errors and mistakes on my website and they like to fix that and blah, 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 blah. That happens to everybody. And it doesn't matter. No website is going to be 100% perfect every single day. So they'll find something.
Yep.
I would say that longevity is also the key. So when you're looking for someone to work with, you want to make sure they're not going to disappear in 6 months and this was just a side gig for them and they're going to go back to their real job or their real career because this just didn't work out. We see that time and time again. We're rescuing people from folks that they thought, they wanted to give them a chance. And I get it. Your local chamber person or your cousin Eddie or whoever's trying to get into the web development business. I get it. But that is not what you want to place bets on for the visibility and the brand of your business. That is not who you want to put that in the hands of. This should be an investment, just like your brick and mortar building. And you need to pick someone and of course, testimonials and reviews, being able to call up a few clients and have them speak to you personally on the phone is important. And knowing what the general opinion is of the web developer you're hiring is important. And read your contracts.
Yeah.
Get that contract before you sign and read it, because I am seeing more and more contracts that are locking people in to agreements that they don't understand. And that can be a huge problem.
Yeah, the two biggest things I've seen on that are lock-in for terms that they weren't really fully understanding, or actually losing the website. I've seen domains get lost in transactions. I've seen websites go away and you're stuck on the website that you have, and to go escape that person means starting all over again sometimes, which that's the very, very small percentage of the deals I've seen out there, but still, the stories for the wary. Now, when they're looking at these now as a home care owner, they're probably a little lost in what makes a good digital marketing company or a good in-person marketing company or a good web developer. So when they look at that and they talk to referrals, what should they ask them? What would be 3 key questions they should ask someone about that developer or that SEO company to know that is a good person to work with?
I would definitely want to know, how long have you been doing this? What percentage of your business is specifically home care? I would ask for 2 or 3 references and actually actually call them. Don't just ask for them. Really do call them and ask some questions. And potentially you might even ask, can I see the terms of your contract before I sign it? and just have a moment to look over it, a day or so to look at it before we make a decision. You know that, a salesperson is going to, be all happy and smiles and we're going to make this the best thing ever. And of course, just like anybody, we're going to want you to be happy, and we're going to, it's not doom and gloom. It's yay, let's do this. Of course. But take a look at the fine print, ask for resources or referrals and reviews, and the longevity of their business, I think. And the percentage of home care agencies they've actually built websites for is a strong indicator of whether they're going to be able to articulate your mission and vision and values correctly.
Awesome. Now, look at the variety of what they produce. Is it all cookie cutter, or do they actually understand the individual brands? That would be another piece there. So kind of advice time here. So my advice, and I'll let you give yours here. My advice is digital is a long game. Mm-hmm. There's no magic bullets in this world.
No.
There's good practices. There's good approaches that have quicker than usual success. But this is something that's not a 3-month success story. This is 6-12 months. You got to really invest in this, right? So be patient, be understanding, come in with your eyes open and aware of what it really takes for digital marketing to succeed. So that's the advice I give everyone. Look at all the home care agencies you looked at and things that maybe they're just starting out. Maybe they're looking at that 7-year refresh of their website. Mm-hmm. What would be some advice that you give, these seasoned home care agency owners, ones that maybe they've been around a little bit longer, they've already got the foundation? What's some advice that you feel like most home care owners need to know right now to level up their game in digital marketing?
Well, I think that the first most important thing for any business owner, if you've made it past the 5-year mark, then the most important thing, of course, at any time, is to know your numbers. Know your sales numbers, your in-person sales numbers, know your lead generation, your online lead generation numbers, and look at your key performance indicators, your KPIs. I know people throw that word around a lot and some people don't know what that means. Are you meeting your goals? What are you basing your goals on? And are they being met consistently? And if they're not, why? Know why. And if they are, yay, can we do better? Can we add to that? So there's always room for improvement. But when someone is at that 7-year, 5-year mark and they're looking at whether their online marketing is working for them currently, you have to know your numbers. And if it's not working, then I would say start talking to web developers who might be able to refresh that website, give you it doesn't have to be a new brand, just a new look and a new feel, same colors as your logo. My guide is at the 3-year mark of any website life that you need to start considering a new website. It doesn't mean you have to do it today, but that's the time to really look at things because technology changes all the time and it's faster than we can even imagine. So if you're looking outdated or you're tired of looking at those stock images, or if you know for a fact that the website's starting to slow down, it's because the technology behind it or the images that are on it are not, there's something that not quite optimized for 2024. And so it's time to start looking. But knowing your numbers, to me, and I'm amazed at how many people don't know their numbers, but knowing your numbers will guide you in which areas you need to improve. If it's in-person sales, then let's, refresh and train your team and get a handle on why that might not be as good as it was last year. If it's website leads that just stop coming in, well, let's take a look at it. Let's see where you fall compared to your competition in the area. Were you number 1 and now you're on the second page for some keyword phrase? What can we do to help? Typically, if your website's getting old, that means that it needs a refresh, but it also may need more content.
I had someone come up to me. It's like, this is 4 years ago. Someone I'd been working with for 7 years in my prior to home care ops life. Called up and it's like, I just did a Google search for this and I come up nowhere. Explain that to me. What have I been paying you for? And I was like, well, that's a new service that you've offered. How long have you been offering that service? And they told me like 2 years. It's like, because your website doesn't even talk about it. Right. So with your 3-year mark, if you're growing as a home care agency, if you're evolving as a home care agency, maybe there's more you need to talk about. Maybe there's things you can improve how you're communicating about it. So that's always a great thing to look at and refresh, because you're going to constantly coach your team to do better.
Yeah.
A website, Facebook, all the social media presence, they're a 24/7 salesperson for you.
Absolutely.
And if they're not communicating the way you are communicating, there's a huge disconnect.
Yeah.
Huge disconnect. So yeah, like I love that. Reevaluating things, look at the numbers, seeing how well you're connecting with your community, with your potential right fit clients, your prospects. Those are all amazing tips for home care owners to look at and think about. And if you need help with that, great. There's nothing wrong with needing help with that. And hopefully you're at a point in your business where you're evaluating that and looking at insourcing or outsourcing that help to draw that in. And I've looked at tons of companies, in the home care space. There's a handful that are very niche to home care. Valerie's right up there. Otherwise I wouldn't be having this call with you, this interview with you to discuss this. There's a lot of opportunities there for home care owners that I feel are overlooked. Maybe it's because you're overwhelmed. Maybe you just need to get someone else to handle it for you, right? So look at those things, but know your goals, know your expectations. No matter which marketing company you're talking to, if you're vague on your desired outcomes, then the results will be vague to disastrous, right? You want to make sure you're really specific on that and work with someone. Like if you can't measure, you can't grow.
Right.
So know how to collect the metrics, know what things you're focusing on, and drive success that way. So, no, Val, I really appreciate your time here today. Always love your input. So this video is going to be out here for you to watch on Home Care Ops Nation. Valerie's also got content that we might have submitted from her from time to time, going into more detail, because I know we just scratched the surface here today. Mm-hmm. So if we get more content from her throughout the year, watch for that in blog posts that we'll link to in our community. So you can continue to learn more about what she brings to the table, things you might do on your own, or maybe you're looking for someone to help you. So either way, just look in the comments here for more details, how to reach Valerie, ask some questions, where to look for her in homecareops.com and Home Care Ops Nation. Really appreciate you guys listening today. Valerie, any quick last minute thoughts before we wrap this up here?
I would say just don't ignore that online presence and make sure it's up to date. It really is an investment, just like your brick and mortar offices and the people that on your team. So keep that in mind. It is an investment.
All right, everyone. Appreciate it. Wishing you lots of success and keep taking action.